All right, I'm back, and we're gonna read from sections. Let me pull it up real quick. We're gonna we're reading from point 6 through 12. Okay, there you go. And that will be the next part of the reading. We'll get right to it. Fuck it, I'll read a little bit. Let me pull it back up. Let me pull it. I know, very professional here. Very professional in the scene. Okay. Before it was talking about exchange value and like, oh, what could it cost? Oh, how useful an item is. Oh, natural resources. Oh, an undefined price. Oh, I'm gonna introduce money right now. That's what he did. That's what he did. A given commodity, a quarter of wheat, is exchanged for blacking, silk, gold, etc., in short, for other commodities in the most different proportions. Instead of one's exchange value, the wheat has therefore a great many. But since blacking, silk, gold, each represents the exchange value of one quarter of wheat, blacking, silk, gold, and must exchange values be replaceable by each other or equal to each other. Okay, so everything he listed equals the same. They're all worth the same. Okay, so one pen, so this is wheat, and now this is gold. They're worth the same. A quarter. Money. They're worth money. Therefore, first, the exchange value of a given commodity expresses something equal. Secondarily, exchange value generally is one of the mode of expression, the phenomenal form of something contained in it, yet distinguishable from it. Take two. The proportions in which they are exchangeable, whatever those proportions may be, can always be represented by an equation in which a given quantity of corn is equated to some quantity of iron, e.g., one quarter of corn equals some amount of iron. What does this equation tell us? It tells us two different things. In one corner of corn, uh, and whatever iron there's an exists in equal quantities, something common to both. The two things must therefore be equal to a third, which is in itself is neither the one nor the other. Each of them so far as its exchange value. Each of them so as its exchange value must therefore be reducible to this third. I think he's talking about money or capital. I think that's what he's talking about right here. Because why is he saying that, like, they both have commonalities? Like, these two things are worth money, but that kind of it's probably something else. Because like, you added in the the idea of money by making it worth a quarter. A simple geometrical illustration will make this clear. In order to calculate and compare the areas of rectangular figures, we compose them into triangles. But the area of a triangle in itself is expressed by something totally different from its visible figure, namely by half the product of the base multiplied by the altitude. In the same way, the exchange value of commodities must be capable of being expressed in terms of something common to them all, of which things they represent a greater or less quantity. Okay. This common something cannot be either a geometrical, a chemical, or any other natural property of commodities. Such properties claim our attention only insofar as they affect the utility of those commodities, make them use values. Okay, I like that. Okay, that makes more sense than like saying it's money. Yeah. But the exchange of commodities is eventually act characterized by a total abstraction from use value. So it's like number of uses equals its value or something like that, or how valuable the item is in regards of its use. So like a raw resource can become a lot of different things, like tools, like bedding, like walls, like cars, like, so that use item, like value of that natural resource is insane. Or let's talk about, okay, maybe he'll eventually go about like jewelry and stuff. Oh, why did I think about jewelry? Sorry. This common something cannot be either a geometrical, a chemical, or natural properties of commodities. Such properties claim our attention only in as far as they affect the utility of those commodities, make them use values. But the exchange of commodities is eventually an act characterized by a total abstraction from use value. Then one's use value is as good as another, provided only it be presented in sufficient quantity. Or, as old Barman said, one sort of wares are as good as another. If the values be equal, there is no difference or distinction in things of equal value. 100 pounds worth of lead or iron is as great value as 100 pounds worth of silver or gold. True. As use value commodities above all of different qualities, but as exchange values they are merely different quantities and consequently do not contain an atom of use value. If then we leave out consideration the use value of commodities, they have only one common property left, that of being products of labor, but even the product of labor itself has undergone a change in our hands. If we make abstractions from its use value, we make abstractions at the same time for the material elements and shapes that makes the product a use value. We see it no longer a table, a house, yarn, or any other useful thing. It exists as a material thing. Neither can it any longer be regarded as product of labor of joiner, the mansion, the spinner, or any other defined type of productive labor. Along with useful qualities of the products themselves, we put out sight both the character of various kinds of labor embodied in them and concrete forms of that labor. There is nothing left but common to them all. All are reduced to one and the same of labor. Human labor is abstract. All right, let's analyze. So here I know he's saying that labor is a commodity. Just gonna take a hunch, just gonna take a guess, since we've simplified materials and items to its usefulness or its use, or it's not usefulness because it could be useless but high, like a high value, whatever it is, right? To our labor is now equated to that, instead of just us having item and producing thing. Instead of us having thing and having worth of thing, now we have our labor, and now we have the tradability of that item. So now that item is like whatever, and now it's like crazy. It's crazy. It could be anything, but it's obviously something. But yeah, human labor then is less productive than just acquiring and trade, if we make this abstraction, because us making it is never as valuable as us having. That's my guess. Let us now consider the residue of each product. It consists of same unsustainable reality in each, a mere congregation of homogeneous human labor, of labor powers extended without regard to the mode of expenditure. All these things now tell us is that human labor power has been expended in their production, that human labor embodies in them. We looked at crystals of this society, substance common to them all. They are values. Wait, let's reread that. Let us now consider the residue of each of these products. It consists the same unsustainable reality in each, a mere congregation of homogeneous human labor, of labor power extended without regard to the mode of its expenditure. All that these things now tell us is that human labor power has been extended in their production, that human labor is the embodiment in them. We looked at the crystals of social substance common to them all. They are values. Yeah. We have seen that when commodities are exchanged, their exchange value manifests itself as something totally independent of their use value. Oh, oh, he kind of cooked there. What? When Okay, we have seen that commodities are exchanged, their exchange value manifests itself as something totally independent as their use value. Jewelry! We talked about that a little bit earlier. This shit is worth way more than wood. Just saying. Just saying. What type of wood? What type of wood, Yuki? Are we talking a whole log? Maybe the whole log is very expensive wood. Shut up. Hold the import. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. We have seen when commodities are exchanged, their exchange value manifests itself as something totally independent of their use value. But if we abstract from their uses value, there remains their value as defined above. Therefore, common substance that manifests itself in the exchange value of commodities, whether they are exchanged, is their value. Whenever they are exchanged, is their value. Use value. Okay. The progress of our investigation will show exchange value is only form in which the value of commodities can manifest itself or be expressed for the present. However, we have to consider the nature of value independently of this form. A use value or useful article therefore has value only because human labor is in the abstract, has been embodied or materialized in it. How then is the magnitude of this value to be measured? Plainly by the quantity of the value creating substance, the labor contained in the article. The quantity of labor, however, is measured by. Let's run that back. The magnitude of this value to be measured plainly by the quantity of value creating substance, the labor contained in the article. The quantity of labor, however, is measured by its duration, and labor time in its turn finds its standards in weeks, days, and hours. All right. Some people. Wait, let's process what we just read. Okay. Value. When we see commodities are exchanged, the value manifests itself. So only when you sell things, it becomes useful. Lit. Let's go. Only when you use it, it has a value. Only when you sell it, it has a value. If it's just sitting on the bench, it's just speculative value. It has a certain use. It has a certain, amount of labor that was needed to be put in. And if you needed to pay your workers, that goes in turn to its value. Value. Sell. That kind of makes sense. So again, let's go back to jewelry. Diamond mines. The reason why diamonds are expensive is because you got to kill a lot of slaves, and you got to dig a big hole, and you need people to know where the diamonds are, and then you need to make a quarry. It's a lot of steps to find a diamond. That kind of makes sense now. And then you have the cutting of the diamond, and then you have kind of get it now. Some people might think that if the value of a commodity is determined by the quantity of labor spent on it, the more ideal or unskilled laborer, the more valuable would his commodity be, because more time would be required in its production. The labor, however, that forms the substance of value is homogeneous human labor. Oh, expenditure of one uniform labor power. Broski just said all of mankind is worth more than one skilled laborer, which kind of makes sense. I don't know why he brought it up. Let's let him cook. Let him cook. The laborer, however, that forms the substance of value is homogeneous human labor. Expenditure of one uniform labor power, the total labor power of society, which is embodied in the sum total of values of all commodities produced by society. Count here one homogeneous mass of human labor power composed. Wait a minute! Oh, wait, is he okay? Okay, I kind of get this in communism though. That's why he eventually like leads that we should all help each other because we're all already producing for society. We're all helping, like we're all taking our like part in helping this world together. We all have hands in this. We all push our society forward. It is not one great individual that is carrying us forward. We are all individually putting our brick. Like, who is manning the water? Who is building the roads? Who is teaching the children? Who is making the food? Who is collecting the wheat, you know? All these useful jobs. Who's working the factories? Who's finding like who's man like refining the steel? We're all taking turns into making our society go forward. Ah, I kind of get it now. Bars, bars, bars. The total labor power of society, which is embodying the sum total of values of all commodities produced by that society, count here as one homogeneous mass of human labor power, composed through it be of innumerable individual units. Each of these units is the same as any other as far as it has the character of the average labor power of society and takes effect as such, that is so far as it requires for producing a commodity. Um, as long as you are producing, it's I, and if you can't produce that much, it's not that I. No more time that is needed on average, no more than is societally necessary. The labor time socially necessary is that required to produce an article under the normal conditions of production, and which the average degree of skill and intensity prevalent at time. The introduction of power looms into England probably reduced by half the labor required to weave a given quantity of yarn. The hand loom weavers, as a matter of fact, continue to require the same time as before, but for all the produce 1 hour of their labor presents at their charge only half of its out. Wait, is he talking about how like when you okay, maybe I didn't read this that well, but like how our technology improves and we should therefore like not work as hard because we're producing more. So here what I think he said was that like the invention of the loom made that people wouldn't have to sew or make textile weaves as hard, so they would have more time because they would be able to produce more. Hypothesis: the production of 1 hour of their labor presents after the change only half an hour's social labor, and consequently fell to 1 hour its former value. So I think it's saying that half an hour is worth an hour. We see then that which determine the magnitude of the value is the amount of labor socially necessary or time socially necessary for its production. Each individual commodity in this connection is to be considered as average sample of its class. Commodities, therefore, in which equal quantities of labor are embodied or which can be produced in the same time have the same labor. The value of one commodity is the value of any other as the labor time necessary for the production of one is to necessary for the production of the others. As value, all commodities are only definite masses of conglomerate labor time. Okay, this will be the end, but okay, remember when I talked about how like the New York underclass, because you brought it up that it was mostly Mexican workers, and I talked about like how okay, I'm just talking out of my ass here, but writers are paid intellectually, so the amount of like things they could produce in an hour would be more, right? But they're both putting in an hour of their time. So what I'm saying is, I don't know, they'll get paid more while the other people only have a certain amount of like grass they can cut or road they can clean. A writer can write an infinite amount, so the like whatever business pays them whatever they think is adequate for their labor. You know what? Fuck it, we're reading more. The value of commodity would therefore. Wait, is this where I'm at? Yeah. The value of commodity would therefore remain constant if the labor time required for its production also remained constant, but the later changes with every variation in its productiveness of labor. This productiveness is determined by various circumstances, amongst other by the average amount of skill of the workmen and women, the state of science and the degree of its practical application, the social organization of production. To be fair, he meant men as like in a pejorative is the word. Gonna guess. Extended capabilities of these means of production by physical conditions. For example, the same amount of labor in favorable seasons is embodied by 8 bushels of corn, and in unfavorable only 4. The same labor extracts from rich mines more mineral than from poor mines. Diamonds are very rare occurrence on Earth's surface, and hence their discovery costs on average a great deal of labor time. Consequently, much labor is represented in small compass. Jacob doubts whether gold has ever paid for all its full value. This applies still more to diamonds. According to whatever that name is, the total produce of Brazilian diamond mines for 8 years, ending in 1823, had not realized the price of 1.5 years average produce of single of sugar, wheat, and corn. I think it's saying that like the amount of diamonds mined for 8 years will never equal the same as growing season for a year and a half. So, and it's not worth the same because of the yields and blah 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 blah. All right, we're done. Okay. So yeah, I think here it's trying to say. Pause. Okay, I think it's trying to say that like the amount of work put in is the same, but the amount that you can extract is different. But they will be paid the same, the laborers, for the time they put in. Right? Even though they're producing less. Right? Because you can grow more in certain seasons and not grow that much in others. And mines are like you can never find you can find gold or coal more commonly than diamond in these mines, depending on location, because it's not Minecraft, but not the point. Okay. And mining for high cost minerals are like never gonna equate the same as how much wheat and like sugar you can grow in one season, you know. And they're and I guess in the market, that's why it costs so much more. Even though the amount of time, yeah, I guess. And you can never really pay back. Like a diamond can never pay back the 8 years someone spent trying to mine it, or like like the 40 or 100 man group that took to find it. Yes, 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 yes. I kind of like this. Okay. We're on now section 2. Yeah, yeah, labor embodied in commodities. Oh, okay. So he's gonna explain like the relation of working and getting things. Thank you. Love you. Love you. I love you so much, baby. I love you so much, baby. Hearts and kisses. Shout out. Shout out. Shout out. Shout out to my baby, my sweetheart, mi amor, my girlfriend, my boyfriend, Kai. Mm-mm. You're literally the only person watching that, but I'm still shouting you out. Boy, have fun in New York.